Technoblade has recently joined the Origins SMP server, but he decided not to pick one of the many different origins already within the server. He instead decided to stick to the human origin, at least until a cool idea comes up and pops up in the forums. Then the idea was proposed to the fans of the Origin SMP, and going through the subreddit there's a very good collection of Technoblade origins that could potentially be used. In today's video we're going to be covering some of the more popular ideas for Technoblade's origin that have been discussed within the subreddit itself. The first one that we'll be going through is one that's already been mentioned by Filza in one of his recent streams, an origin called Wither-Hearted. This origin is themed after a wither as clearly stated with the origin title. Let's go through the pros and cons of this origin. Pros: Death Touch applies Wither 3 for 3 seconds with a 5-second cooldown in between uses. Skull Storm shoots out a Wither Skull when pressing primary ability button. Cooldown between uses is around 10 seconds and can also use the skull for a rocket jump. Death from Above, when pressing the secondary ability button, applies Levitation 2 for 10 seconds with a cooldown of 15 seconds, aka Technoplane, haha. Never King, immunity to fire and wither damage. The Undying, when at 2 hearts you gain speed 2, strength 2 and resistance 2, wither in melee form. The cons: Never Spawn, you spawn in the Nether, so good luck with starting off. Claustrophobia, gets slowness and weakness after being underground for prolonged periods of time. Corrupted Heart, you have 3 less hearts. Despite the fact that an actual wither has so much more health than an average player, this is the average thing used to balance out origins. Brittle Bones, you take more fall and kinetic damage. And of course, little bonus effect that doesn't actually affect the gameplay whatsoever, you radiate pure evil and you have black particles swirling around you in a death aura. The next idea proposed actually came from Technoblade's subreddit, and it's going to be an origin known as Pig+++. Essentially themed via a pig plus some YouTuber perks. Let's run through the pros and cons. Pros: Speed Talisman, holding a character on a stick in your main or offhand will give you speed 2. Blood for the Blood God, heals slightly every time you deal damage to an orphan, aka other players. Potato King, raw potatoes give many times the normal food and saturation value than it normally does. Cons: Piggy Eater, you can only eat carrots and potatoes. Sacrilege, eating pork chops will allow you to be punished by the gods. And the bonus ability that doesn't affect gameplay at all is the ability of Clout, which just summons the sound of a bell to help and promote yourself. This one's ultimately lacking a lot of things to it and is a very basic origin change, with not too many good perks about it, without any form of good cons. It just really feels like a slightly better human. Moving on, we have the Piglin Warlord, which the actual original Reddit post goes into a lot of detail about it. Essentially, the overall purpose is to mix the abilities of a wither and a pig put together, and because of the sheer amount of detail in this, I'll just leave a screenshot on screen of the pros, cons, the neutrals, the extra bonus ability, and just ask you to make sure to go check it out using the links down below after you're done with this video. The next popular one is known as Ravager, essentially an origin based upon the Ravager Pillager. Going through the pros of cons, the pros are you have a rare ability that lasts 5 seconds where you're given high knockback, around 10 to 15 block range of a knockback. All types of pillagers are neutral towards you. You also have 4 extra hearts and 4 bonus defense points, essentially having 2 chest plates in your chest plate bar already. A middle ground ability is the fact that you are now 2.5 blocks tall, making you slightly taller than the average player, meaning that you have to have 3 block gaps or 2.5 block gaps, so a slab to go through. Roaming into the cons, you cannot hold items in your offhands, villagers will not trade with you, and golems will attack on sight, and you're also unable to ride any mob. Bloodborne is another interesting concept, building upon his blood god meme. As you'll notice within the rest of this video, a majority of the origins left will focus more on this more. The pros of this one being Warrior's Heart, Bloodborne has 5 more hearts than humans. Bloodthirsty, Bloodborne receives health regeneration after killing mobs and players. Battle Hardened, Bloodborne may activate strength and resistance for 10 seconds after a long cooldown. The cons: Hunger for Battle, Bloodborne may only feed from dealing damage to other mobs or players. Large Appetite, Bloodborne must fill their thirst for battle by feeding more often than actual humans. And Never Inhabited, Bloodbornes can only respawn spawn within the Nether, which must be meaning that, well, beds don't work in the overworld for the Bloodborne character. The next idea is an idea known as King Pig. The pros of this is known friend, never mobs are passive and will not attack unless threatened, aside from wither skeletons, ghasts, zombified piglins, giant magma cubes. All other variations of the magma cube size though are passive. Allied species, traders will help battle whenever the King Pig is battling so long that they're within a radius of 2 chunks around 32 blocks away. Will not help when attacking piglins, brutes or zombified piglins, and only the trading piglins will actually help, not brutes or zombified piglins. Built like a tank, is as strong as a brute with 20 hearts or 40 health. Moving into the cons, we've got Slain with Style, can only wear golden armor, but also has automatic fortune for any gold related ores. Ooh, Shiny, can be stunned for 3 seconds by right clicking him with golden ingots, which has a 300-second cooldown. How ironic, wither skeletons will deal twice the amount of damage based on the hatred of piglin brutes to wither skeletons, and canonically right, which means that he just cannot eat a pork chop. Honestly, I still prefer the idea of an earlier one where he gets smited by the gods if he eats a pork chop. That just sounds more funnier and more interesting. The last origin that we'll be going over today is an origin known as the Blood God origin. Again, as I said, it focuses on the Blood God meme, just like a few of the other ones in the latter end of this video. Pros of which is blood for the Blood God, any damage dealt will gain you a little bit of health back. Orphan Obliterator, deals bonus damage with all forms of swords. My brethren, piglins, zombified piglins, brutes, and hoglins are peaceful towards you. Skulls for the Skull Throne, high chances of getting wither skulls, is also slightly taller and gets an extra heart. The cons is Neverborn, starts in the Nether like a majority of the other ones, cannot trade with piglins, which I feel like is a decent idea. Potato King gets a hunger debuff from eating any form of meat and also takes damage from eating any form of pork and can only eat potatoes. And last but not least, Revenge, wither skeletons will do bonus damage to you. Again, yet another one building upon the character of Technoblade in the Dream SMP and Skyblock. Overall, these are all some really cool concepts and really cool ideas. Of course, Witherhearted looks like the one that's most likely to go through, as it's already been discussed and mentioned by Philzer in a stream before. I mean, by the time you're watching this video, it might already have been decided, but I feel like it was a fun idea just to go through a video breaking down all the popular ones. And as I said earlier, all the original links to the original posts of these Reddit posts will be down there for you to go and explore in more detail, especially with the Piglin Warlord origin, which I didn't go into full detail here. But either way, if you enjoyed this video and want more Minecraft content, especially around the origin SMP, make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe. Either way, I'm going back to the dark place which I once came, and goodbye.